Your players wake up in a dark chamber. No doors, no windows, just walls carved with ancient runes that seem to pulse like a heartbeat. The air hums with unseen energy, and in the corner of the room, a single hourglass slowly drains its blood red sand. What if I told you you could create this kind of spine tingling, heart racing adventure in under 15 minutes? I'm Dr. Ben, and today I'm handing you the Ultimate Adventure Template, a versatile framework designed to be system agnostic. Whether you're running a gritty cyberpunk heist, a dungeon crawl through forgotten catacombs, or an interdimensional chase across collapsing timelines, this template has you covered. And stick around because I'm also throwing in ready to go hooks, cinematic encounters, and plot twists so good your players will never see them coming. Welcome to RPG PhD. Creating a compelling and flexible adventure for tabletop role-playing games can seem daunting. This guide offers a comprehensive template for crafting an adventure that can be easily customized and run without hassle. Whether you're preparing for a fantasy, sci-fi, horror, or modern setting, this adaptable structure will provide the tools to ensure your session is engaging and dynamic. Let's do a quick overview of what the template looks like. The hook. Why should the players care? What draws them in? The problem. What threatens the world, their lives, or their goals? The journey. How do they get there? What obstacles make it interesting? The climax. What's the big dramatic showdown? The twist, if you want one. What secret can change everything? And the resolution and aftermath. This closes the adventure and hints at future plots. So first, the hook. A great adventure begins with a hook so compelling it practically rolls initiative for the players. The hook is the catalyst that draws characters into the story, tying directly to their goals, backgrounds, or immediate needs. For example, in a fantasy setting, a town plagued by mysterious disappearances could prompt the local mayor to offer a handsome reward for brave investigators. Alternatively, a stolen artifact must be recovered before midnight to prevent eternal darkness, a perfect use of the ticking clock to create urgency. In a sci-fi campaign, a routine smuggling job might spiral out of control, pulling the players into an intergalactic conspiracy. Or perhaps a distress signal from a derelict space station at the edge of known space piques their curiosity, forcing them to choose between caution and heroism. Mystery lovers might grapple with a world where the townsfolk forget their lives every day, leaving the players as the only ones unaffected. While a modern horror story could center around a friend's disappearance during their investigation of an abandoned asylum rumored to be haunted. Hooks like this establish a sense of urgency and mystery, ensuring your players are immediately engaged. To maximize their impact, tailor the hook to your players' characters. Tie it to their backstories, introduce time-sensitive threats to heighten the tension, or present a moral dilemma that challenges their principles. A well-crafted hook not only pulls players into the story, but ensures their investment in the journey ahead. The problem, driving the story forward. The problem is the driving force behind your adventure, defining the player's goal and establishing clear stakes. A well-crafted problem sets the tone and gives the adventure its purpose, providing clarity on what's at risk if the players fail. Common objectives might include retrieving a stolen artifact, rescuing a kidnapped NPC, preventing a disaster, or uncovering a hidden truth or conspiracy. A typical framework for incorporating the problem begins with an opening scene. The players arrive in a new location, either hearing rumors or receiving direct instructions about the situation. As they delve deeper, rising tension is introduced through obstacles such as hostile NPCs, environmental hazards, or rival factions. This builds up to a climactic confrontation where the players face the main antagonist or problem in a dramatic final encounter. To keep the adventure engaging, the core objective should be simple, but players should have multiple approaches to solving it. Many objectives can help maintain momentum while escalating challenges, physical dangers, moral dilemmas, and emotional conflicts ensure the stakes remain high. For instance, a fantasy scenario might involve a cursed artifact poisoning the land, requiring an ancient ritual performed in a monster-infested swamp. In a cyberpunk setting, the players might deal with a sentient AI erasing its existence while corporate agents close in. A horror story could revolve around a ghostly presence growing stronger with every failed banishment ritual. The problem doesn't just set the stakes, it acts as the engine that keeps your players invested and moving forward. Journey to the climax. The journey is the heart of your adventure where players face the core challenges that test their skills, creativity, and resolve. This isn't just about throwing random obstacles in their path. Every challenge should tie directly into the story, deepening their investment in the narrative. The journey can be divided into 3 layers. You can think about physical obstacles, mental challenges, and social conflicts. Physical obstacles might involve navigating dangerous terrain, battling hostile creatures, or disarming traps, for instance. Crossing a frozen tundra while hunted by frost wolves. Mental challenges engage the player's intellect with riddles, puzzles, and mysteries, such as deciphering a forgotten language to unlock an ancient vault door. Social conflicts add a dynamic layer requiring negotiation, alliance building, or deception, like persuading rival mercenaries to work together before a city collapses. Encounters are essential to testing your player's skills, creativity, and adaptability, and they can take many forms. Combat challenges are a staple, such as a swarm of mechanical spiders in a cyberpunk factory that repair themselves mid-fight, or undead guardians protecting an ancient tomb. Social encounters are equally engaging, like negotiating with a demon who loves riddles to release a trapped soul, or bargaining with a faction leader to secure safe passage through hostile territory. Adding hidden motives or competing factions can elevate the tension and the complexity. Environmental puzzles provide a change of pace, challenging the player's problem-solving abilities. Examples include a shifting maze where doors move based on failed perception checks, collapsing floors, or magic runes in a dungeon, or solving an ancient riddle to unlock a sealed vault. These encounters can be scattered with clues throughout earlier scenes, encouraging players to piece them together. For balanced encounters, consider your player's abilities and resources and provide multiple solutions to promote creativity. Role-playing and clever planning should be viable alternatives to direct conflict whenever possible. By mixing combat, social challenges, and environmental puzzles, you'll create dynamic and unpredictable encounters that keep your players engaged and eager for the next challenge. A well-crafted journey isn't just about getting from point A to point B, it's an opportunity for players to grow, confront their fears, and question their beliefs, ensuring the path to the climax is as engaging as the finale itself. The climax is the moment every adventure builds toward, the make-or-break encounter that determines the player's fate. For a truly memorable showdown, several key ingredients are essential. A cinematic setting heightens the drama, whether it's battling atop a crumbling tower, inside a sinking ship, or under an ominous eclipse. Emotional weight adds depth with betrayals, sacrifices, or moral dilemmas that leave a lasting impact. Dynamic combat or challenges ensure the climax evolves, introducing multiple phases, shifting rules, or environmental hazards. For example, in a fantasy setting, the villain might merge with a dark god, forcing players to fight both the god and destroy the altar sustaining its power. In sci-fi, the players might need to stop an AI from uploading itself to the global network, all while dodging drones and collapsing platforms. In horror, the final ritual to banish a monster might require the ultimate price, one of the players sacrificing themselves willingly. A well-executed climax isn't just about winning or losing, it's about making your players feel like the heroes or villains of a story that they'll never forget. The twist, if you want one. A well-executed twist is the secret ingredient that keeps players engaged, subverting their expectations, and forcing them to adapt on the fly. Twists work because they shake the foundation of what the players believe about the story, making them question everything they thought they knew. Whether it's an ally betraying the group to reveal hidden motives, a false victory where completing the objective unleashes a greater threat, or discovering that the real antagonist has been manipulating events from the shadows, a twist can transform an ordinary adventure into an unforgettable one. To make a twist impactful, foreshadow it subtly so that in hindsight it feels earned. For instance, drop small hints about an NPC's questionable loyalty or unusual behavior to set up an eventual betrayal. Twists should also be flexible, allowing you to adjust based on the player's actions and choices to ensure they fit naturally into the story. Imagine scenarios like these. The NPC who has guided the players all along turns out to be their true enemy, using them to further their dark agenda. Or perhaps defeating the villain causes the town they sought to protect to collapse, presenting a bittersweet victory. In a final gut punch revelation, the players might discover that the villain they just vanquished was only a pawn, and their death awakens an even greater evil lurking beneath. Twists are most powerful when they present moral dilemmas or impossible choices, forcing players to weigh the consequences of their actions. When your players have to choose between bad and worse, that's when the real drama begins. A great twist doesn't just add a new layer to the story, it ensures the adventure stays with your players long after the session ends. The resolution of an adventure is where the story finds its closure while laying the groundwork for future possibilities. A well-crafted ending provides the players with a sense of accomplishment while keeping the door open for new challenges. For example, the players might succeed in their mission only to uncover a larger conspiracy waiting to be unraveled. Or the antagonist could escape, becoming a recurring villain who haunts their steps, or the players might face personal consequences such as enduring a curse, acquiring new enemies, or incurring significant debts. To make the resolution impactful, highlight the players' contributions during the epilogue. Show how their choices and actions shape the outcome, and offer rewards that reflect their efforts, whether it's treasure, new allies, or increased renown. Use this moment to weave in hooks for future sessions, creating anticipation for what's to come. Now here's some quick tips. When assembling an adventure quickly, begin by choosing a genre that establishes the tone and setting, such as high fantasy, noir, or post-apocalyptic. Next, craft a compelling hook that introduces immediate stakes to engage the players and define a clear goal, specifying what they must achieve and the consequences of failure. Plan 3 to 5 encounters and incorporate a mix of combat, puzzles, and social challenges to keep the narrative dynamic and engaging. Introduce a twist, if you want, to subvert expectations and force the players to adapt, then conclude with a satisfying resolution that reflects their choices and accomplishments while leaving room for future adventures. If time is limited, simplify the process with a 3-step method. First, rescan and recycle. Borrow themes or structures from familiar movies, books, or other stories and reimagine them in your setting. For example, Die Hard in a wizard's tower. Second, utilize random generators to quickly produce names, dungeon layouts, NPCs, saving you time and effort. Finally, follow the rule of 3 by preparing 3 hooks, 3 encounters, and 3 possible endings, leaving room to improvise as the story unfolds. This streamlined approach allows you to create a compelling adventure without sacrificing creativity or player engagement. So let's take one final look at the template. Here's another example, the hook. The players awaken in an underground temple chained to the walls with no memory of how they got there. Strange whispers echo through the chamber and the air feels heavy, like the breath of something massive and unseen. The problem: as they search for an exit, they find a series of doors, each one locked by puzzles carved into shifting stone faces. But the more they solve, the more they unravel a horrifying truth. The temple isn't just a prison, it's alive, and it's hungry. The journey: they'll need to navigate collapsing tunnels, evade shadowy creatures that slither through the cracks in the walls, and decipher cryptic prophecies scrawled in dried blood. Every step is fraught with danger, and each wrong move awakens the temple's guardians, statues that spring to life wielding swords of black flame. Along the way, the players may find fragments of their lost memories, hinting at why they were brought into the labyrinth in the first place. The climax: in the final chamber, the players come face to face with the heart of the labyrinth, an ancient entity sealed away for millennia. The chamber pulses with power, and the players realize that freeing it may be their only way to escape, though doing so could unleash it upon the world. And the twist, if you want one. As they stand over the final seal, an NPC they trusted throughout the adventure reveals their true motives. They were working to release the entity all along. The players are forced to decide: fight their ally to keep the seal intact, or take the risk of bargaining with the ancient entity to secure their freedom. And the resolution: if the players choose to fight their ally, the battle is fierce, with the temple itself turning against them. Victory seals the entity for now, but the crumbling labyrinth traps them, requiring a desperate and dangerous escape. If they choose to bargain, the entity might grant them freedom, but at a heavy cost. Perhaps it claims a player's soul, marks them with a curse, or vanishes into the world to begin spreading its influence. Regardless of the outcome, the players emerge changed. They may discover clues pointing to the entity's connection to a larger world-threatening conspiracy, or find themselves hunted by factions seeking to control or destroy the ancient power they encountered. The resolution ties up this chapter of the adventure, but leaves tantalizing threads for future adventures, ensuring the labyrinth remains a defining moment in the player characters' careers. And there you have it, adventurers, a template to create unforgettable stories in your games. Remember, whether your players are braving a haunted fortress, unraveling a cybernetic conspiracy, or battling ancient gods, the core framework we covered today is your key to making it all happen. But the journey doesn't end here. Share your adventure ideas in the comments. I'd love to see how you're using this template, or tell me about templates you use. If you found this guide helpful, give the video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe for more tips, tricks, and inspiration to level up your game mastering skills. Until next time, may your dice always roll true, your players stay hooked, and your adventures be legendary. Thanks for watching. See you next time.